Alright, so now I've got my two inside stack of fleece pieces all serged up. These are the ones with the slice, and I start these with the slice down for this step, and then I've got the outer piece, and they're serged right side to right side because when they get turned right side out, we want the right side out. Yeah, makes sense. Alright, so to put them together, I'm going to take the inside piece and I'm actually going to turn it right side out. And there, I don't know if you can see, there's the T that creates by nipping off that little end. Okay, and now I'm going to serge. I'm going to tuck this in, tuck that corner into this corner, tuck this other side's corner with my finger into that corner, and I'm going to serge them together right around the opening. And all I'm going to do is just like put this under the foot of my serger and just kind of drive onto it on the side that has the slice. And I'm just going to make sure the tails get out, they'll get trimmed off, and just make sure the edges are right on each other, right close, same 3/8 inch. And when I get to the second side, the opposite side where I started, about halfway down, and this fabric's really stretchy, so you gotta make sure you're not stretching it when you're sewing it, or it'll get all wavy. You can stretch it, but then just release it when you serge it. Alright, now I got my label, and I'm gonna serge this in, so I don't have to like sew it on or do anything like that. It's just gonna get stitched in while I'm closing this up. And the label has this wider part here, and that's what we're going to stitch it right along that edge. It's going to go right there. And in order for it to flip to the outside so you can see it when it's on the crutch, we're going to put it face down with this edge towards the needles. I'm going to tuck it in. This is one of the trickier moves for sure. And I'm going to have the trimmer come right along the edge of the label, and then the needles are going to go right into it. If you put the label right up to the edge and you trim too much, then you're going to have, you know, this much of the label showing. You know, it's going to be just a very little bit, or you'll even trim off it, like the little crutch buddies won't show up. So this takes a little practice. So I'm going to tuck that in. I'm going to make sure it's nice and straight and not cockeyed. I'm going to pull these little tails out, make sure it's right on the end, and then I'm just going to stitch along, trimming that little edge. And the needles should be going right into the label, holding it in place. Now when I get to the other side where I started, I'm just gonna, because when I started it kind of comes on as a curve, I'm just gonna go straight until it straightens out, and then I can come right off. Just stitch right off. And then this little tail doesn't matter because it's going on the inside. So now I got it serged right side to right side, and I got to turn it right side out. So just push everything through that little slit. Should be able to poke out my corners. See the T for the corners. Here's the bottom, the inside with the slit. Here's the label. So it's going to be showing when it comes off on the crutch like that. Should be nice and visible, nice and straight. about an inch from the end. If you get too close, it's hard to make that corner and keep it straight. And it looks better if it's offset and not like in the center. Alright, and now I can take my foam and I'm going to just fold it over in half. And I'm going to tuck one end in and I'm going to push it right up into that corner. And then I'm going to grab the other corner, the other side, and I'm going to tuck it into that corner and make sure it's all kind of nice and even in there. The foam catches on the fleece pretty well, so sometimes if it's not centered you have to kind of center it. The seam should be right at the top of the foam so that it stays at the bottom when we close it up, and I'll show you that in the next step. And I'll show you this one more time without the label. You see how that works. So I'm going to flip this right side to right side, slice side down, and then I'm going to tuck the corner in, and that corner in, and to even up these edges, make sure these are nice and even, you know, where these seams kind of meet. You want to be at the same spot. And then I'm going to drive right on, pull those tails out, just kind of going in a circle here, in a loop, like hemming a pair of pants. Sometimes you have to realign these edges. Drive right off. And I should be able to flip it right side out. Get my little foam piece here. And this slice opens up pretty wide because it's pretty stretchy fabric. This isn't that hard to get in there. You don't want that slice to be, that opening to be too large. It makes it harder to close it back up. Alright, and there's the other half, and you only need one label per pair. If you try to do 2 labels per pair, it takes more time and you're less likely to have the labels match up in the same spot. Alright, next step is we're going to close those up.